Yeah. Oh man, that is most definitely a king. And we can't keep him. Bless Alaska Game and Fish's heart. Dang. That's a big boy. That was his first one caught. We got to turn him loose, but pretty cool.
Oh, man. That's a big one.
Dang, that's a nice one. Well, we get it on YouTube. We'll have video. We'll show Game and Fish. It's going back. Man. Dang, go. Yeah. Big boy. Douche. Man, that hurts a little. A lot. Y'all, you can tell. Hopefully you can hear this water. And how crazy of a stinking river is this? I know he didn't, but I would say if Satan could have made a river, it'd be something about like this. Something that's just heck no, man. This is the Copper River in Alaska. And it is something different. I ain't never done. There's those nets. Yeah. Yeah! Yeah, buddy. Got him that time. 2? Oh yeah. Or 1. I'll take it. 1 slipped out. That's an intention getter. Copper River sockeye salmon, aka red. That's a pretty one there. Not the biggest that we've caught, but a good one. By regulation, we got to cut the tail, both ends of the point of the tail, for some reason. Just like that, y'all. No editing. Just that fast. A little bit better one. Yeah, y'all, you gotta knock them out. Salmon will keep fighting and fighting and fighting in that net and get all messed up and balled up in there and make your job 1,000 times harder because they're just gonna fight. So everybody up here has some kind of whopping stick, they call it, or whatever. Me and my dad, we've always called anything we knock out, we call it an attention getter. That's what. This is my handmade, all 25-minute birch tree I whittled. Stuck me a string on it. I picked one with a little bit of character, but made it myself for a semi-professional attention getting salmon getter something other. We probably got 50 or so right now, but we got a long way to go between me and Pastor and a friend, older gentleman friend of his. He can fish for. We have almost 200 fish we got to get, if we can, or if we want to. We'll see. Y'all get a view of what I see. I just pull my net up. Got me one. Nice one. This is what we're doing. Pastor is demonstrating the proper gun technique. Yeah. That's all we're doing. Stick it down in these eddies where they have to swim by, and hopefully we get them in the net. If you feel them, you gotta feel them. There is a little technique to it, but yeah, let me show you all the trick too. Looking straight up. Let me back it out. Yeah, so you can see Pastor, and those trees is still like halfway this distance we gotta go to get to the trail. And that's like it all the way down this whole trail, down this whole river is about, just about like that, if not even some places are worse. On the other side of Pastor, there's another spot, it's worse to get down. So this is gonna be a good little workout. Anyway, I just wanted to show y'all. Caught a fisky. He's in the net. I gotta get him, so I'm gonna have to put y'all down. My phone's got like 35% and I have no way to charge it out here, so I'm trying to get all I can get before it dies. But anyway, bring y'all back, show you the fish and what we're doing with them while we're down here on the river in a second, so hold tight. All right, y'all, so we're sitting over there. There's the attention getter. Bunch of fish right here. We're waiting to get about 10. Put 10 on a stringer, and then zoom in. See some down there. All these strings going down is our fish down there staying cool. So once we get 10, we stick them out over there. But You talking about some wicked, wicked water. Just, I'd call it evil almost. And for those wondering, life jacket, for sure. Got my Wallace knife, Mr. Ricky. Got that caribou knife. Gotta have it. Strapped. So I got my nippers for the salmon. Got my Leatherman. But the main thing is life jacket and rope that is tied to my waist, because it's very unfortunate, but every single year people don't go in the river and they don't come out of this river for obvious reasons. So you're a very fortunate one if you do. Extremely blessed. Actually, Pastor saved a guy with his dip net that was in the river a few years back. This is remarkable. That guy was alive. But anyway, taking all the precautions, trying to get our limits. It is work. This ain't fishing. This is catching. And it be work. So they gonna taste real good. About as much work is in these and dollars getting out here, they're gonna taste mighty fine. It's still cheaper than going to buy them. So all right, y'all, I'll bring it back when something else happens. If I got the battery life, we'll see. Well, hey y'all, so it is the next day, I think. If I remember right, it's the next day. Pretty whooped, but we got our fish. Not as many as we set out for because we were whooped and we had to drag them up that hill, which I wish the camera would have done it justice. And if I was anything of a pro YouTuber, I would have filmed it, but I'm not, and I probably never will be. So I didn't film the hike going up because I was just focused on getting the fish up. Me and Pastor were just trying to get the fish up. I ain't worried about filming. We're trying to get the fish going up the hill. So yeah, y'all, we're trying to get the fish done. We got like 130, 140, somewhere in there, between 120 and 130. I don't know. That's a bunch of fish. Could have got more, but when you start getting into that number, at least for us, started to wear on us after catching so many, knowing you have to tote them up the side of like Mount Everest or something, you know, equivalent. I would call it Mount Everest. Maybe not that bad, but it was pretty rough, to say the least. Anyway, trying to get all these fish up a insanely steep incline. So now we're gonna spend a very good portion of the day cleaning fish. So that's what you gotta do. We gotta do what we gotta do. Just keeping the row, make little fish egg bait or chicken treats, one of the two I can do with it. And biggest thing with these salmon I've learned from the pros, like Pastor here, is you want to keep the slime away from the meat. Because like when we moved up here, some fish I had that didn't have slime removed made the salmon reek of mud, really strong. And so we're gonna keep rinsing all the time. Now I can come back and knock these rib bones off. Hand them over there, and then we'll get them bagged up. But anyway, we got a lot of fish to do. Y'all see Pastor over there? He's over there scrubbing them, which that's the initial first step to get rid of all that slime. Got to get that slime off. So we're constantly scrubbing and rinsing.
I'm using a tire brush.
Tire brush, yeah, tire shine brush. Really scrapes them off, gets the pretty much all the scales and everything off. It'll get everything. Those scales help hold the slime there, so by getting all that off, we'll keep your quality of your fish good through the winter, in the freezer and everything. You'll have a higher quality of fish. Be like you caught, literally like you just caught them off the river. So we'll dress them up real nice, take those rib bones out, and you got a real beautiful fillet. That's a littler guy. When we were catching them, we were just trying to get numbers. It's a numbers game. We got some big boys in here. We'll show you too, though. But just trying to keep everything clean as we can. You've seen on that last one had a sore on it, like this one, called a sore, little ouchie. They'll get into a tussle with a seal, and you'd be surprised. I was shocked how many salmon we caught that have some kind of seal wound. The seals are just, man, they're rough on these things. They were whacking them pretty hard. But that river is called the Copper River, and it is a serious river. If you probably could tell, that river is no joke. Keep this liver. That river is no joke. It is rough. There's that one got whacked by a seal. So, but that river's no joke, and unfortunately, a lot of people test into the line for them in that river. It's very, very dangerous. So, for obvious reasons, you know, you've seen me and Pastor, we're both tied off to the bank with life jackets. In the advent of that happening, we would have been good. Thank the Lord it didn't. But that river is solid glacial silt. So that means it's fed by a glacier at the head of that river. I believe so.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
It's glacier fed, yep.
Glacier fed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it looks so nasty. It's just glacial silt water that is making that river like that color. And you can't, I'll say you probably could snag a few, but them fish aren't worried about eating. The only thing they're trying to do is spawn. So they could care less about eating anything. So that's how we're able to catch them in nets instead of like a rod and reel. Because in a rod and reel, it would be much more difficult to catch anything because one, they're not trying to eat. They're just trying to get to where they were born to lay their eggs. So they aren't concerned about eating anything. So you'd have to snag them. But even then, it's just not, you just wouldn't get very many fish. So that's why we are allowed to use dip nets. That's what they refer to as dip nets here. And the fish just, they can't see as little as we can see of that river, they can't see. So they don't see your net and they'll just swim off into it. However, they will fill that net, and if you're not quick enough, they will turn their butt around inside that net and hook it. So you have to be kind of quick on the draw and really feel for them. It's actually, there's quite a bit of technique to it. More than I was thinking there was going into it. There's quite a bit of technique to how to feel the fish, because you're having to fight them in that current. That current, you know, you're having to hold that net through that current, and it took me about 6 hours, about half the trip of catching fish, to figure out how to not spend all my energy holding this net in the water like this. I finally figured out, like, oh, I need to figured out, like, oh yeah, it'd be better to just pin it against a rock. If I get somewhere with a rock and hold it there, that was the game changer. Then it was nowhere near as difficult to hold that net. The rock did most of it. Really helped out. But by that time I was already pretty well whooped. So it helped, but it was rough. So until I learned the hard way on how to hold that net right. But we're allowed, it's a personal use fishery. So what it meaning is, for your personal use, you know, for what you're gonna eat, you can't sell them or nothing like that. You have to use them for your own personal family, which most people are doing anyway. And it goes by kind of how many fish you can catch is how many people you have in your household. So for us, or for me, you know, we have 6 kids and my wife. So me being head of household is how they call it, head of household. Just for head of household, we're allowed 25 fish for the head of household. So just like for me, then every dependent you have in your household is an additional 10. So I could catch, realistically I could have caught 95, and they were running so hard it'd be no sweat to catch 95. We could have totally got that just for me. Pastor could have got, I think, the same, because you can also fish. It's called proxy fishing. You can actually fish for people that aren't able, like the elderly, that can't go out and do it themselves. You can get what's called a proxy tag and catch a person's limit that's not able to go, like I say, like elderly, and catch their fish. So he's able to get, I think, like 105 between his family and this elderly gentleman. So we could have, that's, I think I said in the video before, ahead of when we're out there on the river, we could have caught around 200, 205. But by the time we got into the 140, 50 range, whatever we were at, I was thinking of how much work it was going to be taking them up the side of this stinking cliff. And even though I'm not scared of work, you got to be realistic in how much work it's going to involve. It was a insane amount of work. It is, to get them up the side of this cliff where we were. You know, and most of it looked like it was similar to where we were, but I don't know where we were. You were working for it. So, you know, and Pastor even had mentioned, he's like, man, when we get to around 140, 150, we'll see how we feel, because yeah, it's rough when, you know, just to keep even just catching the fish and holding the net right, it wears you out. It really does. And having to carry them up that cliff by hand on stringers or whatever, you know, we use some stringers and stuff to tote them up that freaking mountain. And just even doing that, it just whoops you, beats you down. So as much as I would have loved to catch 95, because I you know, that's just been more fish I could have gave away, honestly. We're going to eat a fair amount, but we'd have had a lot more we could have gave. And we're still going to give away a lot of fish. I want to give a lot of fish away. But next year, I'm already on on the idea of how to get the fish up a little bit more efficiently. I know there's a way to do it. So then next year, we'll get that 200, by golly. So that's the plan anyway, is we'll get our full limit next year. It'll happen. But it was a good learning experience for me because that's the first time I've ever done this. And up till, like say, my buddy Mr. Kevin, who has that YouTube channel, Experience Alaska, and Pastor here showing me the trick to these, I didn't want nothing to do with these salmon. I thought they were just pretty nasty, because the ones I had, they were really muddy tasting, really muddy. And I just didn't want, I never grew up eating muddy fish. That might float some people's boat, but it doesn't float ours. But man, I'll tell you what, if you take your time and do like say washing them and scrubbing them like Pastor here's doing, what a difference. It's night and day difference on how your fish is gonna taste. Because all this slime, I don't know if you can see, but all the slime and funk that comes out of this river and the salt in the ocean that's on these fish is gonna sit in that bag that you freeze them in until you eat them. Let me help you?
Nope.
And dang it, Pastor. And so anyway, it's real important. This is a great fishery that we are blessed to have. Thankfully, we're able to catch this many fish for winter and the following year. So you want to take care of, or we do anyway, want to take care of our resource that we're blessed to have and treating it with the utmost care. So I'm keeping these livers for burbot bait. I bet you them burbot will like them.
Guaranteed.
So anyway, we're just, so anyway, I don't know, I'm getting distracted by trying to keep these fish clean. Gotta keep them clean. So anyway, yeah, so we got very blessed. Still, we're very happy with the fish we got. And still gonna be more than enough for us and to give away to people. So it was fun. So that's how that thing works, y'all. That's called the Copper River. If I didn't say so already, that was the Copper River. And it ain't no joke. That current is getting it. Getting it. And but it is a well worth resource to have, I'd say. We cooked us some up. I filleted 2 of them last night. Was yours good?
Oh man.
Mine was good. Mine was real good. Man, it was good. And so anyway, we're gonna just bang through these, y'all. I'll bring you back if I can think of something else that maybe y'all are interested in. But it is living here, it's a blessing. This resource we have, a way of catching fish for the winter. This is a huge blessing for us. So got Luke. Luke is the salmon stacker and the packer. Salmon extraordinaire, Luke.
Now, do you know why they allow us to catch them like this?
Not really.
Because they're on their way to spawn, and as soon as they spawn, they just die.
Like they're babies?
Yeah,
They're
that's what
gonna-
happens. They
So,
just die.
so they're already dying. They're on their way to go die. And so if we catch them and treat the meat like this, then they're really good nutrition.
So that's why
Otherwise, they
inject
just go to the edge. They'll go to where they spawn, and then they'll just rot and just stink up the whole area,
them.
which they're going to do anyway because they make sure. That's why Fish and Game doesn't let us take as much as we want. They make sure we only take a certain amount. And in doing that, what it does is it makes sure that we don't overrun the river with too many dead ones because we pull them out early. And then there's plenty for them to spawn and really take care of everything. And so anyway, so that makes a really big difference.
Same thing happens to butterflies too.
Yeah. And so when we're killing them, The reason they let us do it like this is because those fish are already dead. They're just trying to get themselves up and spawn, and they just want a certain number spawning, not all of them.
Right.
And so they let us come get them, which we're happy about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's actually the same thing in the Bible. When the Bible talks about the Israelites, or when you remember when God flooded the whole earth.
Yes,
40 days and 40
Yeah,
nights.
40 days, 40 nights. Well, some people feel like that's like, why would God try to get rid of everybody? Well, unfortunately, because of the heart of the people,
He wanted to restart.
yeah, they were already dying. They were not going to accept God, no matter how much time more that they had. And so, that broke God's heart. Ooh, dear. So, but he found favor with Noah, because Noah, he did believe, and he was going to trust God. And so, if you're not going to trust God, what happens when you die?
You go to hell.
Yeah, you don't go where God intended for you. So, if you're never ever in your whole life going to accept God, then is it God's mercy if he kills you a little early like we are with these fish? It's like God's mercy.
Yep.
It's him being kind to us, those of us that will, because he's doing us a huge favor. That's awesome.
These
Yes.
things are ugly.
They
Don't they
are
turn
ugly.
green too? Like green and red?
Yep,
Those
these are
different
the
types.
ones that they will farther later in their life they would have. Some of them we caught were already green and red.
But those ones aren't the goodest.
Oh, they're fine.
That's when they're really starting to.
Well, they're starting to, but they were enough to where you would see, we could tell that they were turning, but
People don't like it as much.
Yeah.
That's why people don't really like it.
right, that's why we didn't like them for the longest time, because I only had salmon that somebody had and didn't rinse and scrub like Tash was doing, and then take care of it. That's all I've ever had, and so I didn't really want to do any of this kind of salmon fishing, because I was like, man, they taste disgusting. I'm not wasting my time going down there and spending the money and the time to go catch these fish when I don't even want to eat them. But now, since Pastor showed me the way, and Mr. Kevin showed me the way, and how you make them taste good, now I'm like, hey, I'm down with that. I can eat them now. So it's worth going down there.
But it's also why we're recruiting your help.
Yes.
Because we got to be fast with, we got to be pretty quick to get them to the freezer from when I pull them out of this ice bath over here. Then we got to get them to the freezer fairly soon after we get them out of the ice, so that then they don't get all that nasty slime going again.
We're getting some momentum now, I feel like.
Yeah. Plus I'm taking big ones because then it makes me feel like we're going faster in this tub.
Yeah, it's dropping lower.
You get the big ones out.
Right. Go, Luke, go. He's the man. If Luke can't do it, ain't nobody can. Hey, Ike, I hear ya. Ike, you see fish? No. Don't see a fish? Look, Ike. Ooh, look at them pretty. Yeah. Salmon. Alright, y'all, so we got it a little dialed in. I don't know about some people. They might be able to hit the ground running, but generally I got to do a few fish to kind of get my groove. And then once I get the groove going, then it goes by a lot quicker for me. So now I kind of got a system going, so I was going to show y'all how I do it. So put a cut down here at the base of the tail, come around the head, around the pectoral fin, and then I'm spinning them around. And I start on this way. First cut is tail to head, and I'm just cutting through ribs and everything. And then we'll just lay that fillet out like that. And you see this one's got a bunch of pretty roe in it. There's the liver, which I'll use for burbot bait. And that's that pretty roe that we can make salmon egg fishing bait with. And little chicken snacks and treats. What I try to say is chicken treats. So 2 roe sacks. Here's that liver. Beautiful liver for burbot, which I know have got to tear them up. Absolutely tear up the burbot. They'll love that. Because burbot here will eventually for sure get a taste for salmon when they come up our way. So when they rinsing, getting all this slime, anything, gunk, any kind of gunk you want to get off. Then I'm gonna flip them over. See all that discoloration? We don't want any of that on our fish. And so what I figured out for me, now that I've done cleaned about, I don't even know how many we've cleaned, 25 or so at least. Instead of going tail to head again, what's working good for me is going from head to tail. So same thing, come up to that head, I'm cutting it in at an angle, come around, put my hand under the fillet, supporting it, and then coming through until I get down here. Bam. Laying her out like that, and then look at that. That's about as good as she's gonna get. And for those that are wondering, they aren't going to waste. This is why I wanted to do them at home. One, I just want to get home to my family. But number two reason is all the salmon scraps that I'm not going to be using are going into a compost pile. So the garden will be looking right in a couple years anyway. It's going to take about 2 years for it to break down because our winter is so long. It's not enough time for the compost to break down like it should. So anyway, for me, I like, especially with chicken manure in there. But in 2 years, that compost pile is going to be fire. It's going to be on. So anyway, so now we got our fish fillet. So all this, that right there is a rib. That's the rib bone I was cutting through. So now, like I was saying, after doing it a few times, coming up under that rib meat, and I'm getting right under that rib cage. So I'm not trying to waste any meat, and then trimming this off. So it looks like there's a lot. It looks like meat, but see how thin right there, and then there's just this little strip right here. But I'm not too worried about that little teeny strip through there. And all this is, you can tell, it's real thin. That's just full of these, all them big old bones in there. So all that's going to, for me, that's going to go to the compost pile, which will help feed us in vegetables. And like I was saying, rinsing my glove, keeping all this slime off. And then same thing with this fillet. Come back through with that bone. Trying to just put that knife on a incline, real steep incline. And then once I get it down so far, cut on through it. Get that out of here. Now we got two clean, beautiful fillets. And that is your sockeye salmon, or like the locals here in Alaska call them reds. And that's them right there. Big, let me turn this around. Big, pretty fillets. So, and those that don't follow Wallace Knife Works Homestead and Fishing YouTube channel, I hope y'all go over there and check them out. And if you like it, subscribe. We were both hoping the knife he made me, the big fillet knife, he did a video on, would have been here by now, and it would have been here by now if USPS wouldn't have messed that up. So, having to use a stinky store-bought knife instead of one of my nice Wallace Knife Works Mr. Ricky Wallace knives. I do have one of the ones he made for me right here. This is a 7-inch blade with a white-tailed deer antler handle, but he made me a 9-inch. So this is a 9-inch. So that little bit extra, I'm telling you, on these, a lot of these are really wide, and this knife being a little short, for a lot of these big ones, you really have to work through, and it kind of tears towards the tip because it's so wide. So the knife he made me, that'll be here probably, like literally probably tomorrow when we're all done. Like this, it was similar to this profile, just glides right through. A 9-inch knife for these wider fish will just glide through. So that's why I had it. So anyway, this one's working. It ain't as good as a Mr. Ricky knife. He wasn't happy that it wasn't here. It's all USPS's fault. We'll blame them anyway for sure. But anyway, this one's working pretty good. So anyway, that's my process for the fish. We got her dialed down after Pastor scrubs them and gets the slime off, and just keep rinsing, keep rinsing. That slime, I cannot stress enough, is the fishy, muddy, nasty flavor. That's what causes it. So anyway, we're gonna churn in through them. Luke's bagging them. He's cutting the fillets up, putting them in the bag right. When you put them in the bag, you want meat to meat touching. And then we fill them with water, just a little bit of water, push it out, seal it up where it's just water, no air, and freeze them in the freezer like that. So that's the whole process, y'all. So yeah, I'll say, hey, if y'all want to go check out Mr. Ricky Wallace's, I'll put a link to in the description to his channel, and you can check out the knife he made for me. That thing's gonna be sweet. But I will be using that. I guarantee you'll be using that knife here soon, in probably a couple months, for moose. So that'll be an excellent, that knife is a bone and fillet knife to me. So it'll be doing some filleting and some boning on a moose here soon. So hang tight for that video. That's gonna be awesome. All right, y'all, I was gonna show you real quick my truck bed. So y'all remember I did a flatbed on my truck. So here's my new compost pile. She be smelling right. Woo! I mean, this right here, all this is my chicken manure from my chicken coop this past winter. Under this, I got a whole bunch of grass clippings that my son cut and packed up in wheelbarrows, and then we loaded it in here, and then I put chicken manure on top of that. And then you can see, obviously, salmon. I got a little bit under here, I got some here, and the next load's gonna go right there. Then we're gonna cover it back up with some of this manure we raked back. And then I got more grass clippings I'm gonna put over the top of it. And yeah, I just got plastic on the bottom just to kind of hold all that good composting juices and liquids down in the bottom of it. And that way it don't leach out and stuff try to grow into it. Then all I'm doing to cover it is I got pieces of scrap tin that I've just picked up here and there. I put over the top of it to keep a lot of the rain out. We need some rain. You know, you definitely want to water these, but I don't want it too much. So anyway, put the compost on it, or put the tin on it, also for the smell for the neighbors. Anyway, just wanted to show you all the compost truck bed. So reduce, reuse, recycle truck beds. Oh, and what do y'all think about my orange hat? Huh? Orange hat. Made it myself. Sort of, kind of, but I did. Iron-on patches are pretty stinking awesome. Even I can do that. So I got to get back to cleaning fish. Still in the attire. Got a dude photobombing me. Anyway, guess I'll take you over here real quick and show you the it's about 10 minutes till 10 o'clock at night. Still pretty much daylight here. My phone makes it look darker than it is. So some more fish I got cleaned up. I'll have to fillet and everything, and then I'll be putting in bags and everything. So hopefully today we got that cooler knocked out, which had about 40-45 in it. This cooler has about 40-45 in it, and then that cooler's got around 50-55 in it. Yeah, we're close to that mark. So, and then like I say, so this is an old mat that we use to, when I'm scrubbing fish, or like Pastor scrubbing fish, they'll stick to this. And then you see right here, we're trying to not waste anything, so we were catching the slime and scales. You can see all the scales right here. And then when I go to clean, so once we get done scraping, I wash the fish off, I move this mat over and spray, and then it falls down into the cooler. And then I'm taking that and watering all our plants and fruit trees and whatnot with that. That's got a bunch of glacial silt in it from the river, plus all a bunch of little micro minerals and all these little tiny goodies that I'm sure the plants will love. So we're trying to save everything. Everything is going to some use. I say there's our row bucket. All the row, I'm gonna put some borax in there. I think what I remember reading, I wanted to do that whenever last time I went salmon fishing, not dip netting. It was with rod and reel, but I messed up or something. You're supposed to put borax before you freeze them, and I froze them thinking I could get to it later, and apparently you're not supposed to do that, I guess, what I read. So they just became chicken treats, those rows. But this one I'm hoping, I'm gonna put borax in. We got a bunch of borax from making homemade laundry soap. So I'm gonna put borax in there, and then you just kind of work it, and it hardens the eggs, makes them rubbery and tough, and then I can use them for fishing bait. Pretty much all I'm gonna use them for is fishing bait. I'll be well stocked, and I can give a bunch of that away. So that'll be awesome. And then there's all the big old salmon liver. These are real nice salmon liver. That ought to be killer burbot bait. I'm hoping. I'm doing this for, if it doesn't turn out and I'm not catching anything on them, well, then I guess they'll just be chicken food as well. So good thing having chickens. They will eat anything you throw into them. So anyway, it's the whole thing. Here's my next load of all the fish bits and stuff that's going to go to the compost. Like I say, not a whole lot. I'm trying not to, but just a smidge on this bone that I can't fillet off, in the heads. And then these will all be going to compost truck once I get that cooler knocked out. So hoping to include on the video cooking some salmon. We cooked one last night, filleted one up, and just did one. Super good. And I might do one. I was gonna do it on the grill, but I'm pretty tired. It's 10 o'clock at night, so probably just do it on the stove. So but anyway, bring y'all back probably when that happens. Pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. Mm-hmm. Oh man, hit the spot. That is some good tasting salmon, y'all. I'm eating my words. I always thought they was fishy and nasty, but if you take care of them, you do them right, they pretty dang good. My wife actually filleted all these that we have to eat and some to put in the freezer. She got in there and see if she could still do it. She still got it. She took off faster than I did. On just getting the rhythm down, she blazed through a bunch of them. She'll rival any guy, I guarantee it. And she had a good time, just cleaning fish, something she don't get to do a lot. So anyway, y'all, that's it. I'm gonna eat the rest of this fish. This is in the morning. This is the next morning. Still got like 57 to 61 ish to clean, and so we're a little more than halfway, or less, more, somewhere in there, and it's raining. So alright, y'all, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know if you got any questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section. Thank y'all so much for watching. Y'all all have a great day and a great week. I love y'all, and God bless.